Hey everybody, welcome to my channel called Ron Harris, just like me. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. If you're not already subscribed, it doesn't cost anything, helps me out. Also, hit that thumbs up button if you like it. Of course, to share, you can share this on your social media platforms like Facebook. If you're older like me, you probably still use Facebook. Helps me out a lot. I'm trying to build up this channel to give you better and better content as time goes on. So, I also want to remind you, posted a great video this morning, Ask Dr. Testosterone Episode 2. If you're a fan of Dr. T show that we did on the MD YouTube channel for, I think we did like 500 episodes. You can check it out now right here on this channel. There's a new episode right now. Check that out later. So I'll get right to it. Quitting marijuana. So this is kind of a very personal video because I'm sure a lot of you might be shocked, surprised, maybe even disappointed to know that I've been using marijuana for years, but it's true. And I'm not going to make you wait. Why am I quitting? It turns out after doing some research, marijuana use, cannabis use, whatever you want to call it, pot, weed, dope, I don't know any other dopey words. Not only did it probably contribute to my hair loss to some extent, but it would definitely sabotage the results of this hair transplant that I just went all the way around the world to Istanbul, Turkey, and spent a total of about $8,000 altogether between everything with the procedure, the flight, food, things like that. So I do not want that all to be a waste. Go through all that trouble, this whole recovery process, which is it's a lot of work, to have it just be reversed because I couldn't stop. So give you a little brief history of my marijuana use. So when I was 4 years old, roughly, I shared a bedroom with my two of my older brothers. I actually have three, but two of my older brothers, Roger and Dana, which is kind of shocking because they were 7 and 8 years older. So if I was 4, that would have made them only 11 and 12 years old. Yeah. So I shared the bedroom, and after school every day, they would have a few friends over, and they had an 8-track stereo player. They blast stuff like Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, Boz Scaggs, all kinds of music, and pass joints around. And the joke was that they'd always offer it to me, and I wouldn't take it. Obviously, I'm a 4-year-old kid, but I was exposed to marijuana very, very young, and didn't really start using it myself, oddly enough, until freshman year of college. I was at University of California, Santa Barbara. I had been drinking heavily all throughout high school, even before that, but never got into marijuana. It was like a pot. It was like a different crowd. The kids that smoked, we called them the burnouts or whatever. So my roommate, this kid Tyson, he was a Deadhead, big fan and follower of the Grateful Dead. He wore a lot of tie-dye shirts, curly hair, and he loved weed. And he would blaze up pretty much every weekend. Not every day, but usually on the weekends. I got away from it again for years. Didn't get back into it till I was in my late 20s, say like 27 or 28. 28 maybe, started up again, and it's been on and off since then, but I'd say for the past few years, it's been a chronic thing. I've been using it habitually. The joke is that I would smoke it every day, only on days that end in Y. That was my little joke because, all days end in the letter Y. And, like I said, at first it became an occasional thing. I could control it to weekends, and then it started becoming a daily thing. What did I use it for? I became dependent on it to eat. I justified my use of it in a lot of ways. As a bodybuilder, we need to eat a lot of food. So I justified the fact that I was smoking because I need to boost my appetite. I need to eat more to make better gains. I do that. And let's face it, it made things like music, TV shows, movies, that much more enjoyable. It heightens your senses. Everything seems cooler and funnier, and music sounds better. Sex even feels better to some extent. Using it to go to sleep, I could say, well, I have trouble sleeping. It really helps me get to sleep for the night. Using it for that. And as an artist, or, as a writer, which technically is kind of an artist, I wouldn't do it. I would never use it back when I was writing stuff for MD or those kind of articles. But when I was writing fiction, I always felt, maybe wrongfully so, that it opened up my mind to different pathways, different ideas. That whole book that I have out on Amazon called Evil X10, Evil times 10, 10 Tales of Extreme Darkness. I think I was high as a kite when I wrote every single story in there. And there's some scary stuff in there because it does help you tap into some of your primal fears and things like that. But it became a problem. It became a problem when I had to do it every day, when I couldn't control myself to, okay, it's only going to be on a Friday or Saturday night. I think at first I was able to say, okay, only on Saturday night. Then it was like, okay, only on Friday and Saturday night. And then I was like, well, Sunday's the weekend too. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then it became Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 7 days a week, every damn day. So that became a problem, especially when if I had to go without, if I couldn't smoke for whatever reason, I would get irritable. I'd get upset. And in fact, it did affect my work in some ways because there were occasions when I consider myself a functional drug user, a functional marijuana smoker, because I would wait until I had all my work done for the day. And I typically wouldn't smoke until that was all done, be it like 5:30, 6:30 at night, which is still kind of early, really, when you think about it. But that was my agreement to myself. I can't smoke until I've gotten all my work for the day done. But sometimes I was doing interviews and I wouldn't be able to arrange interviews all the time during the standard, 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 workday. Sometimes I would have to stay up a little later and do interviews when other people, that's when they had the time. And I wouldn't get upset at them, but I was like, it would bother me that I couldn't smoke that night. So that's when you have a problem. And I knew I had a problem, but especially because it wouldn't be just once. I would do the initial smoking at say like 5:30, 6 or 6:30, and then I would reload. I would smoke again at like, I don't know, 7:30, 8:30. Typically go to bed around 10:30 every night. So I was smoking weed twice every night. Really, that's excessive when you're doing it every day. Looking back, was I as efficient a worker, as productive as I could have been? No, I don't think so. I think it does, even for people that have a good work ethic, which I do. And I had my responsibilities, and I never slacked it, shirked my duties. I made all my deadlines. I got all my work done, but still, I don't think I was operating at full capacity. And, I'm not saying all this because I'm self-righteous now, like I quit. I'm not quitting because I want to quit or because I have the willpower to quit. It's simply for reasons I'll get into very soon, related to this hair transplant, having lost a good chunk of my hair and now trying to have this whole process be successful, the hair transplant process, to get a really good result. And I'll show you why in a few minutes as to why I have to adhere to this. I can't smoke anymore. Will I never smoke again? I'm not saying I'm never going to smoke again. Every once in a great while, a blue moon. But now I have a very, very strong motivation because I don't know how many times over the past few years I would say to myself, yeah, I'm going to take a month off. There have been times when I did take time off because when I got the surgery on my quad, when I tore my quad, I looked into the healing process for that after the surgery, and smoking is very bad for the healing process. It inhibits blood flow. I'll get into it later soon with the hair transplant in particular, but it's not conducive. The carbon monoxide that's a byproduct of smoking, whether it's cigarettes or marijuana, very, very bad for blood circulation and healing. Not a good idea. So I was able to stop for that because I wanted my leg to heal. I wanted to walk. I wanted to drive a car. I want to start leg training again. I want to get my leg full function and size of my right leg back. So that forced me to do it for a time, but I went right back after, once my leg had gone. It's not fully normal again, but I'm walking normally. I was training again. So I started smoking again every damn night. And this is okay. Now I can get into it. So I just want to throw some stats at you first, though. So marijuana, just so you know, it's legal in 24 states out of the United States. We have 50 states, 3 U.S. territories, and Washington, D.C., which is not a state, it's a District of Columbia. 17% of Americans supposedly report using marijuana on a regular basis, which sounds kind of low to me. I wouldn't have been surprised if it was more than that. The stats from the National Institute of Health. I'll get into those. I'm not going to show you their page. Yeah, so let's share the screen. I want to show you some things that I found in my research that sort of forced me to come to this decision. So let's go to the first one. This was one hair transplant website. I was just Googling and looking at things. So let's see. Where's the stream here? There it is. Okay. So can I go down on that? I can't read it there. No, I'm gonna have to go here. So hair transplant, smoking cannabis. Okay, marijuana is a drug. We know this. Blah, 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 blah. THC and hair loss. This is really the critical thing here. The active element in cannabis is a psychoactive compound called THC. This is why I can't even use edibles or gummies or anything like that. It's not just the smoking. It's the actual chemical component, THC, delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol. This compound enters the blood and overwhelms the brain with relaxing chemicals, giving a feeling of happiness. Forensic departments throughout the world have tested hair samples to look for signs of drug misuse. Yeah, some of you might have actually been drug tested with your hair follicles, hair strands. Some marijuana users have experienced greater hair oiliness and more rapid hair loss. We can attribute these symptoms to a higher amount of THC in the hair. It appears that THC deposits itself in hair shafts in higher concentrations. It also reduces the elongation of hair shafts, depending on the amount entering and accumulating in the body. THC also hinders the growth and multiplication of keratocytes in hair follicles. Studies have indicated that consuming marijuana in any form, whether chewing or smoking, can lead to reduced hair growth and even hair loss. And so this is from a website, one of many hair transplant clinics. But it continues. Marijuana contains chemicals called cannabinoids, which occur in more than one form. There are phytocannabinoids that cannabis and some other plants form. Synthetic cannabinoids, on the other hand, are chemically produced, while endocannabinoids are naturally produced in animals and by the human body. Some studies that analyze the impact of these chemicals on hair follicles found evidence of an adverse effect on hair growth. Many experienced surgeons at top hair restoration clinics, such as theirs, Shift Hair Transplant, I have no idea where they are. I'm not endorsing them. I'm reading the state that prolonged use of marijuana can make hair softer and lead to eventual hair loss. And there's a girl smoking in the picture. It says it's best to quit or cut down on smoking before and after hair transplant. And this is interesting. Indirect hair loss. Using marijuana can result in higher levels of anxiety, greater activity, and insomnia. Although users may intend to use it as a relaxant, it can actually increase stress. Yeah, you guys know that paranoid feeling. And indirectly result in hair loss. Inadequate sleeping and eating habits can also lead to higher stress levels and poor nutrition. This in turn can affect the success of a hair transplant. Using marijuana can also aggravate alopecia areata, bald spots, and other medical conditions which affect the scalp. Shift Hair Transplant, blah, blah, blah. They can help you. Okay, so I'm going to go to one more of these. Stop that screen. Going to go to the other one. Okay, so this was a different website. Is marijuana Clinista. So this one was marijuana after hair transplant. That's what I get when I Googled it. Cannabinoids and hair transplant. I want to make sure I'll skip over anything that I've already sort of said. Of course, there's a question that comes to mind. Being an environment where cannabinoids are consumed can cause the molecules of these substances to be caught in the hair. So can these substances really reach the root of the hair and the hair shaft? Yes, our scalp is the best blood supply point of our body. And yes, the substances in cannabinoids can easily reach our scalp through blood. That is known in hair transplantation, which I just got. Microcirculation is one of the most important factors for the survival and nutrition of the transferred tissue, the grafts, after all tissue and organ transplantation procedures. Several theories have been proposed to support this observation. Namely, marijuana can make ischemia and mitochondrial damage caused by oxidative stress that disproportionately affects vascular structure. A study conducted at the University of Debrecen, I don't know where that is, in 2007 clearly showed that cannabinoids inhibit hair growth. The effect of these substances on hair loss is explained in one paragraph of the research as follows. Exocannabinoid delta tetrahydrocannabinol dose-dependently inhibited hair shaft elongation and the proliferation of hair matrix keratinocytes and induced intraepithelial apoptosis and premature FH regression. Catagen, I don't know what that means. It is clearly seen that the active ingredients in marijuana and hashish affect the most important cellular functions for the healthy growth of the transplanted hair. In this case, the use of cannabinoids, marijuana, hashish, others, must be discontinued if successful results are to be obtained during hair loss and hair thinning treatments before and after transplantations. I'm just going to show you one more thing, and then we'll get to your questions and comments. This was pertaining to the addictive qualities. We've always heard marijuana is not addictive. not in the sense that nicotine is addictive or an opiate like painkiller pills, things like OxyContin or heroin. These things, fentanyl, those are very, very addictive, and we know that. So I wanted to know is I have to present it. Sorry. So let me go to that present screen. Here we go. So, is marijuana addictive? Oh no, what did I do? Oh, I'm going to click it. Okay. So this is from National. It's a government-run website, but they tend to have great funding and studies to look at on these websites. This is the NIDA, which is National Institute of Drug Addiction, I think, and NIH, which is National Institute of Health. Okay, so it's not classically addictive in the same sense that something like an opiate would be, but here we go. Marijuana use can lead to the development of problem use known as marijuana use disorder, which takes the form of addiction in severe cases. Recent data suggests that 30% of those who use marijuana may have some degree of marijuana use disorder. People who begin using marijuana before the age of 18 are 4 to 7 times more likely to develop a marijuana use disorder than adults. I won't get into it here, but there's also strong evidence that the brain never fully forms if you start smoking in those developmental years. Certain parts of your brain never fully finish developing, which is really scary. Marijuana use disorders are often associated with dependence, in which a person feels withdrawal symptoms when not taking the drug. People who use marijuana frequently often report irritability, mood and sleep difficulties, decreased appetite, cravings, restlessness, and or various forms of physical discomfort that peak within the first week after quitting and last up to 2 weeks. Marijuana dependence occurs when the brain adapts to large amounts of the drug by reducing production of and sensitivity to its own endocannabinoid neurotransmitters. Marijuana use disorder becomes addiction when the person cannot stop using the drug, even though it interferes with many aspects of his or her life. And to that, I just want to interject, even if you're functional, even if you're still getting your work done, you're better off than somebody who's lost their job and lost their family and it's really thrown their life in the toilet. But are you still living your best life? Are you being as productive, as healthy as you can be? Obviously, we know the answer is no. I mean, I and others, we justify it to ourselves, but realistically, we know the truth. Okay, so estimates of the number of people addicted to marijuana are controversial in part because epidemiological studies of substance abuse often use dependence as a proxy for addiction, even though it is possible to be dependent without being addicted. Those studies suggest that 9% of people who use marijuana will become dependent on it, rising to about 17% in those who start using in their teens. In 2015, so this is almost 10 years ago, about 4 million people in the United States met the diagnostic criteria for marijuana use disorder. 138,000 voluntarily sought treatment for their marijuana use. This next paragraph just tells you that marijuana is much more potent, much stronger than it used to be in years past. I think a lot of you guys are aware of that. The marijuana that was smoked or used in the 60s, 70s, even 80s, so much weaker. Now we've had people developing stronger and stronger strains and crossbreeding and making all these crazy hybrids to bring out certain qualities, traits in the drug. So the marijuana that we have available now is so much stronger than marijuana from years past. See, can't smoke indefinitely. Yeah, Goku Luffy. I mean, I could choose to smoke right now or anytime I want, but if I want all this trouble I just went through, all this money, pain, time, it took like almost a week out of my just going to Turkey. I was there for 5 days. And then this recovery process takes months. I don't want to be an idiot and sabotage it and negate the result. I would feel like such a moron. My wife would remind me every day what an idiot I was if I sabotaged the results of this hair transplant because I couldn't stop smoking or I couldn't use even edibles. It's the THC. I was actually really bummed. As someone, I've been enjoying marijuana for all these years. All those other reasons I said before, it helps me relax. If takes a lot of the anxiety off in some sense. In other sense, it makes me more paranoid. But it's something I wouldn't have used it all those years and as habitually as I had been doing for these past years if I didn't really enjoy it. So to find out that I couldn't even use edibles or gummies or any form of administration, it was kind of a disappointment. But at the same time, it's a relief because now I don't have a choice. It's now I don't have to worry about, can I be strong? Can I say no to the drugs today? Can I say no to smoking or edibles today? I have to, if I want this to take full effect, if I want to get the best possible result from this hair transplant, I have to be smart. I have to adhere to this decision. Can't smoke. Like I said, maybe once every few months I can do something if I want. It's like someone who's maybe not an alcoholic and has to stop, can't ever have a drink again. But somebody that can control their drinking to just a couple times a year, maybe in a social situation like at a wedding or New Year's Eve, a couple drinks, something like that. But certainly, I know I can't habitually do it. I can't do it every day. I can't do it every week. I have to really abstain, or else this is going to be messed up. I'm not going to get my hair growing back the way it's supposed to, and I couldn't live with myself. I would feel like just such a loser, like I had no willpower, all because I had to continue smoking or using edibles or whatever. Had to keep getting high. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not doing this as a righteous thing. I have plenty of friends who smoke. To those of you who never have, God bless you. I do know plenty of people who have never smoked a joint, never had a sip of alcohol. Straight edge, really straight edge people, and more power to them. Much respect to those who have avoided all temptation. I didn't avoid temptation. I inhaled a lot. I'm 54 years old. It probably wasn't the greatest thing for my lungs anyway, the smoking. And smoking, I couldn't see myself doing edibles every day because they are a little pricier. They're pricier than the actual flower that you smoke. So that's another thing. Financially, it was a good amount of money that was going into that every month that I wasn't even thinking about because, it was making me feel good. So I didn't care. So is it just smoking weed that affects your hair transplant, or can hash resin affect it? So it looks like all those cannabinoids from the research I just did, and you can do your own research for sure. Don't just take my word in a couple pages that I showed you for it. Do your own research. But from what I saw, everything that I've seen so far does indicate that anything that contains cannabinoids is going to interfere with your hair as far as keeping your hair. And if you're trying to regrow hair like I am now, that's why I went to Turkey and spent all that money and went through that whole procedure because I wanted to get my old hair back. I got my hairline back lower because my hair was creeping up and up and up. And in the back, that bald spot was getting harder and harder to hide. It was getting less and less hair and more skin visible in that dome area. I can't even touch my head for the first 10 days. Yeah, let's see. Let's move on. So yeah, if you care about your hair, if you really care about your hair, and, it's funny. People have been saying, I've been posting these pictures and they say, oh, you look great bald. Why do you care? I said, well, I don't like the way I look bald. If it came down to it, if I ever really had to, obviously I'd have no choice. I don't think I look horrible bald, but I think I look much, much better with hair than I do without hair. It's an individual choice. I've had more than a few guys saying you should have just, let nature take its course. They were telling me I'm bald and I love it. Well, that's great. If you love being bald, God bless you. Whatever you love. If you love having hair down to your waist, God, there you go. God bless you. Whatever makes you feel comfortable, makes you feel good about yourself. When you look in the mirror, makes you feel confident when you walk around and you're around other people. Go for it. Don't worry about what anyone else says or their opinion. It doesn't even matter. And damn, I check all the same boxes. Allegedly, thank you for speaking so publicly about this. Helps us speak about their experiences. Yeah, I was, like I said, I really hesitate to do this video because most people are closet smokers, I think, that smoke, especially if you have any professional reputation or image to uphold. They're gonna say, oh no, he's a pothead. But I've found out from talking, a lot of people, once they figure out that you smoke, they'll confess that they do smoke. It's a very, very common thing. That's why I think that statistic of 17% of Americans, that's significant because we're a country of, who are we, like 350 million people? So that's a lot of people. Yet still, I think that's low. I would think it's closer to 30% if I had to guess. But who knows? I could be wrong on that. And the fact that 24 states out of 50, it's been put to a vote in all these states and sometimes multiple times. And these people of the state, the public, they voted to legalize recreational marijuana use. Now, it's legal for recreational use in 24 states. I should have checked the stats, but for medical purposes, I think it's legal in almost every state. Maybe it is every state at this point. But there is a difference. If it's a medical, if it's legal to use medically versus recreationally, you do need a prescription, a card. Although I think that's kind of a joke, because I remember years ago, was it the last time I went to LA, to Venice Beach? It was back in, I think, 2015, when my daughter was out there doing a DJ contest called Your Shot USA with Chesto. The DJ was running that. So anyway, walking down Venice Beach, they had a table where they would diagnose you and give you a medical marijuana card. And then just across the boardwalk, you walk 10 paces and they had a dispensary where you could go buy your weed. So, and that was medical, because at that time it was not available recreationally. I don't know if it is. It might not even be at this point. I know when I was in Florida a few weeks ago, it's not legal there recreationally. That's one of the states it's not. It tends to run along party lines. I think a lot of the so-called red states that are primarily made up of Republicans, those tend to be the states where marijuana is still illegal to use recreationally. And the blue states, which are primarily Democratic, tend to be a little more liberal. And those are probably, if I had to guess, I bet most of those 24 states where it's legal are Democrat-run states. Not getting to politics here, guys. I'm not really a politics guy at all. Yeah. So I know this is a weird time to go live on a Tuesday afternoon. Most people are still at work now. So if you're watching this on the replay, leave some comments below. I'm always happy to interact. I answer every single comment on all my videos. I pride myself on that, because it's still a small channel that I'm really trying to grow. Not that I wouldn't do it anyway, but you see these channels that have 1,000 comments. Very, very few of those comments are answered, or questions are answered by the guy or girl posting the video. Who has time for that? But I do still have time, and I do appreciate all your feedback, positive or negative. I listen to it all, and I like to respond to it. And it's good for the algorithm, whatever an algorithm is. I'm still not really sure about that. But that is it, guys. Since we don't have any more questions or comments right now, appreciate the fact that you guys are receptive to this. And, if I let any of you down by confessing my long history of marijuana use, I'm very, very sorry that you feel that way. I can't take it back. And again, I'm not up on a soapbox saying you shouldn't smoke. You guys can all smoke, drink, or not smoke or drink. Do whatever you want if you're an adult. It's your life. It's your body. I'm not here to tell you what to do or not to do with your life. And that's really about it. So again, please subscribe, like, share, and comment. Do all that stuff, please. Appreciate it so much. And check out the new video up with Dr. Testosterone episode 2 on this channel. That's it, guys. Thank you all for watching. We'll talk to you next time.